A week from tomorrow night, you're going to be on stage at the Reginald A. Civic Center here in Jamestown, New York, as part of the Lucy Town Half Marathon weekend. And first of all, I just wanted to get your thoughts about coming back to Jamestown. I know you've been here before, as well as Chautauqua Institution. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was really, several years ago I played the Lucy Festival, the Lucy Desi Festival. And then Chautauqua. Chautauqua was really very interesting. I'm not sure I was totally prepared for Chautauqua because it was like a time warp. You know, it was they had all those gingerbread and Victorian houses, and it was like going back to the 1880s. I expected to run into William Jennings Bryan walking down the street, you know.
Yeah. But certainly you're very familiar here with the people in Jamestown. They've been able to see you before. Bob, you've been on stage, you've done stand-up, you've done TV. What is it that you enjoy most? Is it something like what you're going to be doing a week from Saturday?
Yeah, I don't tell you. I don't think I'd ever give it up. I just had my 85th birthday in September, and that's where I started out, and it's my first love, and I've never stopped doing it. I mean, even when I had the TV shows, there was always, if we were on hiatus, I went out and either went to Vegas or Lake Tahoe or Cleveland, Ohio, or Jamestown, and did stand up. That's just it's a part of my life. I just can't imagine. You know, it's inconvenient right now with all the catching. The missing the planes and having to get on the little small planes and puddle jump from place to place, but and losing and canceling the flights and all that goes along with it today in travel, but. Once you get there and you're on stage, it's worth it all because it's where I came from, and especially the Lucy and Desi Festival because I spent 53 years in television. I started in '61, and Lucy virtually founded. Lucy and Desi, they came up with the three-camera show, which is what I did, and what Mary Tyler Moore did, and what everyone did, until they came up with what they call the one-camera show without an audience. And I think you lose something. The audience, it gives you an adrenaline rush, and I think the performers are better. I think the writing is better because they know it's going to be judged, and so they were the pioneers of the modern sitcom.
Absolutely. Your thoughts about Lucy, and were you ever able to work very much with her or with her at all during the course of her career, obviously, and yours?
No, we never worked together. No, I never did Lucy's show. A lot of my friends did. Dick Martin used to appear on the show with Lucy, and we would know her socially. You know, we'd see her at restaurants, and my wife Jenny and Lucy used to play backgammon together, and Lucy. She wanted to win at everything, you know, whether it was a television show or playing backgammon. That's just the way she approached life.
I remember hearing about that. Her daughter, Lucy Arnaz, has talked about that before. No, she said, Mom never wanted to lose at anything.
That's right. That's right.
I did want to go back just a little bit because we played them a couple of times on WJC on radio, the radio station I'm involved in here, and that is from your best-selling comedy album of the 1960s, The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart. And going with the Abner Doubleday story, that's one of my favorites.
Wow.
You know, just reminisce a little bit. Which of the routines where you have the call there, that where you're talking to somebody on the other side of the phone, which one of those is your favorite?
Well, you know, it's kind of it's kind of like trying to pick your favorite child. I mean, I love them all for a different reason. I loved the driving instructor because of the commercial success of the show. I think of the record. I think that had a lot to do with it. As a piece of writing, because I couldn't afford writers, so I had to write it myself. It would have to be Abe Lincoln. And then the Submarine Commander, and then, as you mentioned, baseball and the Wright brothers, and they all have a special place in my heart. I went down to the first nightclub I was ever going to play was in Houston, Texas, to record the album. I went down there for 2 weeks, and I had literally half an album. Which in today's world is hard to explain.
Yeah.
There's no other side to a CD. That's it. But in those days, it was the record. The LP had one side, and then the other side. And generally, it took like 40, 50 minutes to fill up an LP. And when I went down there, I had the Submarine Commander, I had Abe Lincoln, and I had the driving instructor. So during the 2 weeks I was in Houston, I had to write enough to fill up the other side, and that's when I came up with the one you mentioned, Abner Doubleday, trying to explain baseball, and the Wright brothers. So they all have a different spot in my heart. They all bring back just wonderful memories of first starting out and being totally unprepared for what was going to happen with the record. That it was going to go to number one, and the second album was going to go to number two, and then the second album went to number one, and the first album went to number two. I mean, I just couldn't get my mind around that the success that it enjoyed.
What was the inspiration for those?
The inspiration really was I would just see things that struck me funny. I was an accountant in Chicago, and at the end of the day, I was so bored with accounting. I had this friend of mine, and we'd just talk on the phone, and I'd do routines over the phone with him just to break up the monotony of being an accountant, and then they provided the basis for when Warner Brother Records said, "Okay, we'll record you at your next nightclub," and I said, "Well, see, we have a problem. I've never played nightclub." And they said, "Well, we'll have to get you into a nightclub." And they got me, and it took like a year to find a nightclub that was willing to take a chance on somebody who had never done stand-up before. But there was a hotel in Houston called Tidelands, and they said, "Okay, we'll take a chance on him." So I was there for 2 weeks and recorded the album, and it went out, and I didn't hear anything about it. They recorded the album in January of 1960, and this was like April. So I called up Warner Brothers. I said, "Whatever happened to that comedy record I made?" And because there's some of the people in Chicago have been asking me about it, and they said, "We're shipping every copy we press up to Minneapolis. It's going crazy up there." And then they started to Minneapolis, and then Chicago, and then all of a sudden I was getting offers for the Ed Sullivan Show, and then I think that sometime in the summertime, I think the album made number one, and those were heady days. So those were really, and I was totally unprepared for what happened.